Alright, good morning everyone. Welcome to the very first discussion of CA Final Audit Fast Track lectures in 100% English delivery. So I hope South India students will be, very much comfortable with these lectures, and other Pan India students can, either watch these lectures, or we also have Hindi English version for which you can enroll. Alright, so when it comes to CA Final Audit, see, I'm not going to waste time in my introduction or something, that sounds very uncleish. And obviously CA final students do a lot of research, all right, before enrolling for any class, so you already know about me. We will move ahead straight away with the discussion, because if you have joined fast track course, that means you want 100% coverage, and that also in a limited time. So the most important thing over here, the most important currency in the lecture is going to be the timeline, and also to ensure 100% coverage of the ICA module. All right, so in that case we will move ahead with the discussion. First of all, first few minutes we need to give to the syllabus coverage. Right? What is your syllabus coverage? Now when it comes to syllabus coverage, you have total 19 chapters. Okay, I'll just create a rough work in front of you, then I'll show the books and stuff. Alright, so you have total 19 chapters in CA Final Audit. Out of these 19 chapters, 11 chapters are based upon standards on auditing standards. I think at inter-CA level also you had some standards on auditing, but obviously I'm not going to assume that you remember anything of inter-CA, even though it is a fast track batch. I will start with the assumption as if you don't know anything. Alright, I think that is a better assumption. Okay, so 11 chapters are based upon standards, and 8 chapters I will club them as non-standards. Okay, this is the first thing. Now in fast track you have 3 books with you. Okay, your books, second last bench, take it from there. Oh, you got it. Okay, in the bag. Okay, sorry. Then you can take out the treasure, madam. Okay, now 11 chapters are based upon standards and 8 chapters are non-standards. Now when it comes to these 3 books that you have, so if you see book 1A, alright, now you have 11 chapters over here, and these are all based upon standards. Now if you see book 1A, that is completely dedicated to standards. Alright, I have developed this fast track book in a different manner. For first couple of lectures, obviously you will keep on writing a lot of stuff, because if you write, then you will develop the grip, you will recollect few concepts from inter-CA. Alright, so we will write a lot of stuff for first 15-20 pages. Alright, so what will happen is that you will get, it will be like a warm-up session for you. Alright, and then after that, if you see, one standard begins. Okay, so when it comes to these 11 standards, the good news is that there are only 46 standards in the ICA pronouncements, and you have all 46 of them, because after final CA there is no other level called a super final CA. Right? So obviously there are all 46 standards. Now when you used to study audit at inter-CA level, you always had this complaint that, boss, what is this? We are CA students and we have to by heart everything. Alright, look at this, commerce like papers, the last line of the question matters a lot. You have to just look at the last line, by heart the code word, and vomit the code word. Alright, so when you were at inter-CA level, most probably many students would have done it in the old course itself. So you had this complaint, but there was a lot of ratify work that was going on. Alright, however, your manifestation has worked. Right? And in final CA level, in the new syllabus, finally I'm very happy, in the new syllabus. Let us say if they had not introduced new syllabus for another 3-4 years, I would have stopped teaching, because I was bored with all that ratification work that we were supposed to do. So ratification is a Mumbai word. Alright, so basically I am from Mumbai, so few words will come out as in Mumbai English. Okay, now when it comes to these 46 standards, let me tell you, almost, just apart from 1 or 2 questions here and there, it is completely application based. Alright, they will give you a long case study, and you will have to understand that case study, and you will have to connect it. Let me give you one demo. For example, They will just tell you that there is a notice from Pollution Control Board to a manufacturing company. And they will talk about that notice and company has emitted carbon emissions and all of that. Okay. Now when you look at that question, you realize that if there is a notice from Pollution Control Board to a manufacturing company, then in that case, what are the effects? First thing, from accounting angle, they will have to show it in the notes to accounts as a contingent liability. Alright. If the outflow is more probable, then they will have to create a provision. Then think from auditing angle. If there is a notice from Pollution Control Board, then it is possible that the company may have to shut down, or there could be some stay order on the company that affects their going concern. Alright. Now let me add the masala of joint audit in this. So there are multiple auditors who are auditing that particular company. And what if there is a difference of opinion amongst those auditors? Let me also add masala of some non-standards chapter, where there is some ethical discussion also in non-standards chapter, which says that if there is such kind of notices and stuff, then what are your duties in that case and what are you supposed to do? Alright. And I'm not joking. This is actually one of their question. Alright. And if you see May 24 paper, if you just want to get the feel of new syllabus, you should download May 24 paper and look at question 1B. On YouTube, I also have my paper analysis, alright, of May 24. You should just see that. Question 1B. You should just go through that case study and you will realize that your manifestation has worked, and now you will have to study application based. And that is the reason that I am not going to assume that you have a lot of knowledge of inter-CA or anything. Because in inter-CA, unfortunately, 60, 70%, 80% things were based upon memory, and only 20-25% things were application based, whereas the ratio is reverse over here. So we are not only supposed to finish the syllabus, but we are also supposed to visualize it practically and do it properly. Not only for audit paper, but your last paper, which is multidisciplinary case studies, alright, your IBS paper, where there will be a mix of all the subjects. You can go to my Telegram channel and you can see the public review which I had taken. Alright. So it was in May 24, it was the first attempt for multidisciplinary case studies. And I've taken a poll that what was the impact of audit subject on multidisciplinary case studies. And I had given them various options, 0 to 5 marks, 5 to 10 marks, 10 to 15 marks. And most of the students have clicked. I have selected 10 to 15 marks weightage. That means 10 to 15 marks impact of audit paper you will also see in the paper of multidisciplinary case studies. Alright. So that is the reason. Please do not get into the trap of summary notes. Please do not watch various Telegram channels and look at that PDF, how to cover audit in 5 hours, right? Entire audit in 20 pages, right? All of those PDFs and stuff, all of that is a scam. Alright, that is just to boost your fake confidence. Okay. Now, so 11 chapters based upon standards, 46 standards, and we have to study application based. So the more you interact with a Zoom live, whatever it is, alright, through any medium, even if you're watching recorded version, the more you interact through doubts and stuff, better it will be for your own preparation. 8 chapters are based upon, non-standards, I would say. I would divide these non-standards into 2. One is a chapter called as professional ethics. Wonderful chapter. Alright. First of all, let me give you the dolly over here. That this chapter alone is worth 16 marks. Alright. And Institute was true to its weightage. They had indicated that this chapter will be in the range of 16 to 20%. And it was actually asked of 16 marks. 12 to 14 marks was there in the descriptive paper. And around 2-3 marks were there in the MCQ part. So professional ethics chapter itself is of 16 marks. Now it looks like professional ethics. So when you look at the word ethics, it makes you feel as if it would be a theory topic, but it is not at all a theory topic. It is based upon Chartered Accountants Act 1949. It actually tells you the do's and don'ts of Chartered Accountant. Now when you look at this chapter of professional ethics, you will realize why Chartered Accountants lose their degree, how much you can advertise, how much you cannot advertise, all of that, right from your root to fruit when it comes to Chartered Accountancy profession, everything is covered over here. Alright. And then there are some small chapters, alright, which I will call it as other topics, like audit of banks, audit of NBFC, internal audit, PSU audit, Livada Mendu, what are lots of topics. Right? So around 7 topics are small chapters. But those small chapters, they bite you like mosquitoes, ants and stuff, they suck the blood out of you. Because when you look at the entire paper, so question number 1, which is I'm talking about the descriptive 70 marks. You know MCQs are of 30 marks, descriptive 70 marks. Question number 1, A, B and C, which is a compulsory question. Normally you will see from standards. Alright. Then question number 2, A, B and C. So it is like 5, 5, 4. Alright. In inter-CA you had 4, 4, 3, 3. Okay. So this is like 5, 5, 4, 3, 3 questions under every question. Unless they want to come up with a lengthy paper. So question number 2, A, B and C. One question you will see from professional ethics and you will be like, wow, nice practical question. One question you will see from bank audit. One question you will see from PSC audit. And these small chapters normally students are not well prepared with. If you look at my admissions of repeaters batch, alright, you will realize one thing, that most of the students of repeaters batch, they join for 2 topics. One is this other topics, small topics of non-standards, and second one is these 46 standards, few standards from those standards. Because most of the professors in the market, the first lecture that they take in audit subject is always of professional ethics. Okay, why? Because it is very interesting. So when you take that as a first lecture, you can develop your impression on the students. Alright, students will feel like, wow, what a professor. But let me tell you, even you as a student, after preparing for 2-3 months, if you take this chapter, even you can get 100 admissions. Okay? Because professional ethics, by default, the chapter is interesting. And that is the reason I will not start with this topic today. Alright. I would like to address the elephant in the room. I am not talking about myself. I am talking about the topic of standards. Alright. Because if you develop grip on standards, you will feel ultra confident. Okay. Because that is the most problematic thing. Then I will take up professional ethics. Because technically to teach you professional ethics, you should know bloody what are the standards. Because on violating standards, you will be held guilty under professional ethics. So the logical sequence of understanding the subject is first always finish standards and then you should touch other chapters. And that is the reason that first we will discuss standards. That is book 1A followed by book 1B, alright, which is on non-standards. And then you have book 2. So total 3 books, book 1A, 1B and book 2. Alright. So book 2 is your entire question bank. I have received a little criticism about my question bank because I normally take feedback from the students. Alright, I'm very, even though I've spent 10 years in the industry, still I keep on taking feedback. And I tell students that you can write whatever you want to write in that Google form. Alright, so it helps me to improve. I have received a little criticism of my question bank. What is the criticism? First of all, positive criticism that there are too many questions. Alright, and I would like to not improve on that. Okay. Negative criticism. What I have done is first I have printed questions, then I have given answers. Alright, like for example, when you look at this, below every question you will not find the answer. So students don't feel comfortable. They're like, what is this? You have to see question from here, then answer you have given at the end. Alright, but that is exactly what you are supposed to do in your self-study. The biggest reason why you fail in theory subjects is you look at the question. Okay, you may not have understood the question properly. Then you look at the answer. And if you understand few lines of the answer, you feel that that question is done. Then you go to second question. Again, you don't understand the question properly. You just try to look at the answer. Let me tell you, in theory subjects, answers are always comfortable. Answers are always comfortable. You will always feel that, okay, I know this answer. Alright. Because you are first studying the concept, then you are going to the answers. So you will always feel that you know the answer. What do you think? The game is about understanding the answers or the game is about understanding the questions? The game is about understanding the questions. Alright. So the whole game is about understanding the question. And that is the reason I want my students to study in this manner. That first question, apply your brain. Then I have given some space over here. This space also comes at a cost, printing cost. Then you have to use pencil. Think about the answer. Try to write the answer over here, at least the outline. Then you have to go to the suggested answers. Tally whether what you are thinking and what is the suggested answer, whether that tallies or not. If it tallies, you will feel 10 times confident. If it does not tally, that is also good. Then you will never forget that you went wrong in that particular question. and there is a high chance of retaining. There is a high chance of retaining that particular answer. Are you getting my point? Okay. So everyone over here, you have this question, you have the answer, and I will continue with the same style of question bank. First all the questions and then the answer, because that is the only way in which you can excel at understanding the questions and looking at the answers. All right. Okay. Yeah. Sir, you could have given us color books and not black and white books, sir. See, there was a strategic decision that I had to take. If I give you color books, I wouldn't have given 3 books to you. Alright, because there are separate binding and printing costs for everything. But I wanted a separate book for standard, separate book for non-standard, separate book for question bank. Alright. Now, unfortunately, all of these things come at a cost. Okay. And what I'm doing is, mostly you will see that my recordings are not in studio recordings. It is, I take a batch face to face and then I put it on the recorded version. That also comes at a cost, because what happens is, in face to face I am also more disciplined, students are also more disciplined. All right, and it really creates good output, whether face to face or Zoom live. Most of the professors in the market are going for in studio camera recording. All right, so what happens in studio camera recording is, obviously it comes at a lesser cost. You can create studio anywhere in any corner of the world, right? Secondly, they save a lot by creating books in such a manner that they don't have to issue a very big material. You can compare the number of questions I've covered in my question bank, and you can compare the number of questions with any other question bank. You will realize it has more number of pages and more number of questions. I've picked up question from 2004 also. All right, that you will realize when you solve it. And the ugly competition in the market is such, all right, that just because many professors are not taking multiple live batches, so they record once and they keep on selling it, right? So they can sell one product for 1 year at a mass level, right? And when you sell at a mass level, you can sell the course for 3,000 4,000 rupees, also 4,500 maximum. And I cannot afford that, because I'm going for multiple live batches and there are various costs that I incur. So obviously, for those obvious reasons, if I keep and the feedback is such on the Zoom that, sir, you could have increased the fees of the batch and given us the color books. Trust me, when you enroll, you don't know the fees and stuff. All right. So when you enroll, you will just compare the fees of one professor with another professor and you will take the decision. All right. It is when you attend my lecture, you understand the quality and you feel like, yes, we are ready to pay higher fees. All right. So you can give us, color books and this and that stuff. So earlier I used to charge higher fees. I used to give color books, but then some of my great colleagues in the market, they entered into a price war with me. All right. And that is the reason I had to also reduce my fees, but I did not want to reduce the content. All right, and that is the reason that this was a strategic decision taken. Okay, so I would like to give that feedback in the very first lecture itself, because even I have my EMIs to pay. Okay, now everyone over here, we will start with the discussion, and trust me, right, when you write and stuff and when you solve, you will feel that it is much better to study from these books, because many of them are creating the books which will make you feel comfortable when you read, but I am not supposed to make you feel comfortable. You have to understand that this is a lengthy subject. You have to understand that there are hundreds of questions that you are supposed to solve. You have to write something. All right. For example, I've also received one more criticism. Sir, if you look at my books, all right, in between you will see filling the blanks. All right, look at this. Fill in the blank. Look at this. Now why these blanks? Because I know you will see the lecture and then you will write. All right. Suppose if I give you this, fill in the, suppose if I type everything over here. Okay. Then in that case, there are high chances that student may not see the lecture. For few topics, student will straight away finish it from the book. All right. Then I had given these things. I've learned these things through experience. Now, how to make a final CA student study? Because sorry to say, final CA student feels that he's at the topmost of everything and he knows everything in this world. Right? Now, how to make a student study? So that is why I introduced filling the blanks. Now, even whether you buy live lectures, recorded lectures, whatever it is, the moment you see the blanks, you will have to go through my video. You will have to see that what is the concept. All right, because every single blank, this a couple of two blanks over here, this is the application based question of 5 marks. All right, so every single blank, fill in the blank which I have kept, is of high importance. All right, and that is the reason that I want students to hear me and then understand. because there is a lot of application based studies to be done. So don't worry. Even with the fast track course, there are documented feedbacks on YouTube and everywhere. Students have scored 70 plus easily, even with the fast track course. Because my fast track course also runs into 90-94 hours also. Alright. So obviously that is a very detailed, a short version of regular course. I will not call it as a fast track course. Okay. So on that note, do not worry about the coverage. If you see over here, because I know that students need sufficient and appropriate audit evidence. In fact, when they are studying, they need absolute assurance, conclusive evidence about everything. That is why you can see over here, I have given ICI chapter number. In each chapter, what are the standards covered? Alright. And then I have my index of standards. I don't teach chapter wise. If you see 11 chapters, it covers 46 standards. And when you look over here, I have given the list of those standards. Alright. So we are going to study standard wise. But every chapter has certain standards. Acha, let me tell you, there is one more scam going on in the market. Some professors will tell you that, see, I am teaching you straight from the module. Okay. They will teach you straight from the module. Now I give you a challenge. Please go to the module today. Open chapter number 5, audit evidence. Okay. This chapter in the module is only of 25 pages. And for every single standard, they have just given a chart. Just chart of half page. That's it. Just a bloody chart. Right? And then students feel like, yes, I'm done with the chart. Right? And it's over. And you feel like you have done from the module. But when you look at the first 2 pages of the module, they will tell you that in some standards, we have just given revision charts because we assume that you know the concept from inter-CA. That is why for 10 standards, 10 to 12 standards, in the module you will just see half page chart. You can check chapter 5, you can check chapter 6, alright. You will just see half a page chart, that's it. However, when I developed the notes, alright, I have not assumed that, and I have printed things from inter-CA level also, because in the questions they are asking that. And there is one big hidden adjustment, please be careful. When you go to the ICI website, this is something that you need to understand, only then I can start with the syllabus, because I have received such doubts. Sir, in the module, this concept is given in just half a page. You are teaching us 3 pages. What is the use of that, sir? Why you are giving too much workload to us? Again, I told you, final C students smarties. So look over here. This is study material new scheme. I want these things to be documented. Okay. Now we'll look at module 1. Okay, so I told you chapter 5 audit evidence. Now look at this. This is their SA 500. This is their SA 501. This is their SA 505. That's it. All the concepts are obviously not covered in this. Look at this. This is the most shittiest thing that I've ever seen. Okay? Then I'm saying this on record. I don't fear, because this is cheating, students. Then when you actually go to module 3, look at this hidden adjustment. At the end, they have given the link of auditing pronouncements. Pronouncements means bare standards. Alright. And when you click over here, and when you click this SA 505, this is the real content. Are you getting my point? And they can ask questions from this. And I will show it to you in the module question itself. That the question that they have asked in the module, which is a big case study, they have themselves not covered it in the content book, because that question is from auditing pronouncements. So again, you can't give entire pronouncement to the student, otherwise the student will go into depression. Alright, he will have to take depression pills, anti-depression pills. So I have used all my experience, alright, and then I have created this note. So if you look at my SA 505, this is just one sample, alright. Because nowadays students don't look at your content, they look at the font and the color and the design and stuff, alright, and then they decide this is nice book. Now look at my SA 505, alright. Whatever concepts in the last 20 years, whatever they have questioned and whatever they can question, alright, everything is covered in these 4 pages. This will ensure complete coverage of your auditing pronouncements, all the hidden adjustments, everything. Alright. So my book is obviously more than the module and something less than the pronouncement. Alright. It is in between. But I can give it to you in writing. There won't be even a single question of standards which is not from my book. Alright. And I'm giving this assurance since last many years. I used to never give this assurance in my first 4 years of coaching. But when I entered the 5th and 6th year, I developed enough experience, right, to give this statement to the students. I can give it to you in writing. Not even a single question will be outside from our discussion. But it is my humble request, don't get fooled by the market. Alright? Because there are some YouTube stars who are fooling students a lot, okay, and misleading students a lot. I don't want to name them, okay. So please be careful. Even if someone says that I'm teaching from the module itself has summary standards for few chapters. I hope I have made myself very clear over here. Zoom may please give me a confirmation. Yes. So you are in the safest hands. The only thing is that whenever there is the first lecture, students are always very enthusiastic. Yes, we will cover everything. Yes, we'll give our best. Alright. And the moment they come near to the exam, they get disconnected with me. And they are misled by the market. Someone will give you 1-page standard, 2-page standard, and you will download that PDF, you will prepare from that, and you will just give yourself fake confidence that you will be able to clear exams. But that is not going to happen. So if you want to meet me the next time as my colleague and not as my student, right, then in that case, please ensure that you are following all the instructions that I am giving you. Have I made myself very clear? Yes? Yes. Alright. So everyone over here, on that positive note, we will start with our discussion, okay, because we need to write something, otherwise you will doze off. Come to the very first page. We are going to start with standards. Okay, so come on, start writing a little bit, then I will start the discussion. Everyone knows that your story starts from the ICI. The ICI has established a separate board for standards. What is the name of that board? AASB. Start writing. See, I am aware about my handwriting. Okay. So don't worry. I will dictate it. I will read it out also. I also have ready-made PPTs for this, but I don't use PPT. Because I feel bored in that PPT. I will myself doze off, forget about you. So if we keep writing, alright, if we put our hands to proper use, then all of us will stay awake. The ICI has created AASB, Auditing and Assurance Standard Board, and Auditing and Assurance Standard Board has established engagement and quality control standards. Engagement and quality control standards. Okay. Now when it comes to this engagement and quality control standards, they are divided into 5 categories. SQC, SA, SRE, SAE, SRS. SQC, SA, SRE, SAE and SRS. Students attending through Zoom, Y is for yes, N for no through the chat box, W for wait, and L for, no, you don't think, L for lag. Alright? Okay. Now, SQC, what is the full form? Standards on Quality Control. So first couple of sessions we'll take it slow. Once you develop the grip, then I can accelerate. Standards on quality control. Standards on quality control is just like our parents. Whether there are 3 children, 4 children, 2 children, whatever it is, they have same instructions. Don't eat biscuits from strangers. If someone offers food, don't take it. When you buy and have it, but you don't take it. This instruction, can I say all of your parents have given it to you? Yes. Similarly, we have standards on quality control. If you are a bloody practicing CA, whatever assignment you are doing, you need to maintain certain quality. Right? So, standards on quality control down arrow right down there, general quality control measures. Final CA students, please write. You have this habit in articleship and stuff. You work on computers only. So I don't know last time when you had picked your pen. Right? So standards on quality control is general quality control measures across all assignments, across all engagements. Okay. Then you have SA. SA stands for standards on auditing. Come on, man. You had so many essays in Inter-CA. At least tell me. At least answer this. When it comes to standards on auditing, it deals with all types of audit or only audit of financial statements? Accounting standards deal with all types of accounts. Then auditing standards deal with all types of audit. No. When I say standards on auditing, don't worry if you go wrong, it's okay. Right? You have to be shameless in front of me. It deals with audit of financial statements. Only in market you have so many audits, na? Internal audit, concurrent audit, stat audit, this audit, that audit, system audit. Alright. I think after a few days, Big Fours will introduce human body audit also. So standards on auditing, it deals only with audit of financial statements. Wait, don't write financial statements. Wait. Financial statements are also of two types. One is historical financial statements, which you actually prepare, company final accounts. Then when company applies for listing or when it tries to take funds from the from the investors, or what you even see in Shark Tank India, right? There are another type of financial statements called as projections. So your financial statements are of two types. One is history, second one is prospective. One is history, second one is prospective. Let me tell you, when I say SA, don't write just audit of financial statements, write audit of HFS. It deals only with audit of historical financial statements. Now this level of teaching was not done at Inter-CA level. Alright. So even though you may have done Inter-CA, even though you have done so many standards, still if you don't know that it deals with audit of historical financial statements, then there is some issue. I repeat, standards on auditing. Yes, very good, Neeraj. It deals only with audit of historical financial statements. Alright. Then SRE. You have to discuss things practically with me. In the last lecture, if we are able to understand every single line of Reliance audit report, that means it was a successful session. Otherwise, you can take refund. SRE. Standards on review engagement. Now, what does this SRE deal with? Right now, review of historical financial statements. Review of historical financial statements. Okay, now we need to discuss a little bit. So, audit of historical financial statements. Audit of historical financial statements, review of historical financial statements. Bloody of HFS is common. The only difference is audit and review. Now what is the difference between the word audit and review? Any of you attending live into audit of listed entities? Okay, then you know it. See, when it comes to audit of listed entities, when you go for quarterly visits, what do you call it as? LR. Alright, why do you call it as LR? Limited review. In the first 3 quarters, you have time to even go to movies, you have time to eat everything, right? You are a little relaxed, you do a little bit of vouching, little bit of verification, alright, and then you move ahead. But when you are 4 quarters down, I mean during the finalization stage, you are not able to reach your home, all right, you forget where is your residential address, okay? Because you know you have a lot of workload. Exactly, because when you are 4 quarters down, once the entire financial year is over, what you're doing is audit, and in the first 3 quarters what you're doing is review. Auditing, hey chalo, you remember this from inter CA. Auditing is a absolute assurance activity or reasonable assurance activity? Reasonable assurance. What do you understand by reasonable assurance? High level of assurance but not a guarantee. Whereas review is a limited assurance activity. Review is a limited assurance activity. But I don't want you to by heart in this manner. If you actually look at one audit report and review report, you will see the difference. What is your name, madam? Sneha. Audit report will say, to the best of our knowledge and information available with us, we hereby give our opinion that Sneha is a good girl. Alright. Clearly it will say that Sneha is a good girl. Okay. However, review will say, with the limited review that we have conducted, we hereby conclude that Sneha is not a bad girl. Now please understand the difference between the two. First I am saying Sneha is a good girl. Second, I will not say Sneha is a good girl. I will just say Sneha is not a bad girl. So I am not saying Sneha is good, but I am just saying, okay, she is not bad. That is exactly the difference that you will see in audit and review report. Right? In audit, you will clearly see, in our opinion, to the best of our knowledge and informations and explanations given to us, we hereby express our opinion that financial statements of the entity show a true and fair view. Whereas when you look at the review report, you will see that with the limited review that we have conducted, nothing has come to our knowledge. Nothing has come to our knowledge that suggests that financial statements are materially misstated. That means as of now, we don't have anything which says that financial statements are bad. But I will not give it to you in writing that financial statements are showing a true and fair view. So just don't be satisfied with this, Okay, audit is reasonable assurance, by heart. Review is limited assurance, by heart. No. Ask me, sir, what will be the exact difference between reasonable assurance and limited assurance? Because that is how you will develop the mindset of solving application based questions. Alright. So everyone over here, below audit, please write down reasonable assurance. And below review, please write down limited assurance. I'm not giving you a lot of notes over here because I have a different paragraph where I will show it to you reasonable and limited assurance. Later on we will continue this discussion. Over here it will be too much then. Alright. SAE. From the first lecture itself, think everything in a practical style. SAE, Standards on Assurance Engagement. Alright. The only way in which I can explain SAE is that, please write down, it will give you assurance on information other than historical financial statements. It will give you assurance on information other than historical financial statements. Now let me tell you, when I explained SA, I told you what it deals with. When I gave you explanation for SRE, I told you what it deals with. But if you see my English over here, the wordings that you have written, I told you what SAE does not deal with, but it is not dealing with historical financial statements. Because you know what, in SAE there are 3 standards and all 3 are dealing with something different. In all 3 there is one thing common, that client is giving us some data, we are checking the data, expressing an opinion. But all 3 are different standards. I cannot give one explanation. The only thing common between these 3 standards is that it is other than historical financial statements. For example, SAE 3400 tells us how to audit future prospective financial statements, projected. SAE 3420 tells us how to audit prospectus. Both of them are not connected. But one thing common in both of them is that both the data is other than historical financial statements. So for SAE, I want just one line on the tip of your tongue right now, that it deals with assurance on information other than historical financial statements. One more time, it deals with assurance on information other than historical financial statements. All right. Then SRS. Standards on related services. Achha, when you guys are answering, you can use English or Hindi, anything. Huh? Just that for in the lecture, I am using English. Huh? All right. SRS, Standards on Related Services. What is your name? Harshit. Harshit. H is missing. Double AR. What is the meaning of that name? Happy. What a happy dikho fir. All right. All right. Harshit, let us say that you are a practicing chartered accountant, and so now my company is a coaching class company, but you know what, there are too many admissions in different batches. You know, there's some is regular, fast track, Hindi, English, final, inter. Right? So I'm very confused with my data, and I appoint you to help me in sorting out the data. There is one task that I'm giving you, that Arshit, you have to tell me that, boss, okay, these are the students in regular course, these are the students in fast track course. Sir, you have received this much fees you are yet to receive, this was the discount given by you. You have to just give me a proper data, sorted data. All right. Tell me, Arshit, have I asked you to check the data and express an opinion on that? No. I am just asking Arshit that please sort the data for me. All right. That's it. Such kind of services are covered over here. Standards on related services. Client will give you certain task. You please finish that task. But one thing is common, that in this category, we will not check and express an opinion. We will just assist the client. We will just assist the client in finishing certain accounting task. One more time. We will just assist the client in finishing some accounting task. That's it. That is why this category is famously called as AUP, agreed upon procedures. Whatever I agree with you, I'll do it for you. But one thing is clear, that there will be no assurance activity. We will just assist the client in specific accounting tasks. I will repeat, don't worry. AUP, agreed upon procedures. Agreed upon procedures. No assurance activity. No assurance activity. Assist the client in specific accounting tasks. Assist the client in specific accounting tasks. All right. One more time. SQC, standards on quality control. General quality control measures across all engagements. Whatever torture you go through in articleship, documentation, ethics, and I don't know whether they are following ethics or not. Well, it's a documentation, partner review, all those days which you hate. Right? It is because of SQC. Right? Then SA. Achha, you go through these trainings and stuff. I don't know whether you're going through the training. They send you in some seminars, webinars, whatever it is. All of that is SQC. All right. Then SA, standards on auditing. It deals with audit of historical financial statements. All right. Reasonable assurance. SRE deals with review of historical financial statements, limited assurance. SAE deals with assurance on information other than historical financial statements. And SRS, I'm just going to do some accounting work. I'm just going to do some specific accounting work as instructed by my client, but there will be no assurance activity over here. All right. Now, if I talk about the quantum, then you have one standard over here. you have 38 essays, 2 SREs, 3 SAEs, and 2 SRS in your syllabus. Only this much. And don't worry. Once you develop the grip, then you will, once you catch the gist of, standards topic, then automatically you will be able to finish standards at a very fast pace. Alright. Listen to me. I just forgot to give you the exact weightage of the entire syllabus. So these 11 chapters, if you go, ICI has uploaded one weightage PDF on its website, if you have seen that. So for 11 chapters, they have given a combined weightage. So straight away said 50 to 55 marks for all 11 chapters, combined weightage. That means they don't want to give you the exact weightage chapter wise. So for all 11 chapters, they are like 50 to 55 marks. And in May 24, it was asked for 60 marks. Combining MCQs and descriptive everything. See, for MCQs, what we get is just news from the students. Alright. So whatever students have given us the input, based upon that, I'm giving you the weightage. In descriptive, we could see 55-45 breakup. And for non-essays, for non-essay chapters, obviously the balance 45 marks. They have given 45 to 50%, but so they can take it max to 50%, 45 to 50%. However, professional ethics is for sure 16 marks. Alright. So for non-essay, for all the 8 chapters, you see 9 over here because I've broken down, this audit of banks and NBFC into 2 topics, right? Because they have given it as one topic. I broke it down into 2. So for non-essay, you have 45 to 50% weightage, and professional ethics is 16 marks. Alright. So basically, you have to prepare everything. And don't worry, when I went through the entire module, I realized that they have not covered some standards. Like, look at this SA 210, 230 and stuff. These standards were not covered by them. Oh, I was like, what are we supposed to do with this? But then I went through auditing pronouncements, they had given the links of this. And you will not believe in May 24 RTP, MTP and stuff, there were questions from these standards. Alright, I'll show it to you. That this standard they have not covered in the module. And in May 24 RTP, I'll show the question of this standard. Alright. So basically, we will cover all the 46 standards. Okay? Because we want absolute assurance that bloody we will clear the paper. Because I know you don't want to see audit books for the second time. Okay. Everyone over here now. So this is your introduction to standards. From the next page onward, if you see, I've changed the heading. I've written essay basics. Alright. Why I've changed the heading? There are some 8 to 10 concepts that we will cover. Because those concepts will be repeatedly used in standards on auditing. So that once you know those concepts, it is like you know the ABCD of standards. Then we can move ahead. Alright. So everyone over here, we'll start with the discussion of, I have titled it as essay basics. Alright. So we'll start with the discussion of essay basics. The very first concept that we'll start is right down there. Come on, you would have used this many a times in standards auditing. Applicable financial reporting framework. Yeah, you would have used this at inter-C level, AFRF, while writing answers. Wherever you see space, write AFRF. Applicable financial reporting framework. But within the next 10-15 minutes, you will realize what will happen at finals. Chalo. So when I say chalo means we are moving ahead. When I say applicable financial reporting framework. Arey, come on man, what is applicable financial reporting framework? The guideline used or applicable for preparing financial statements. Come on, here we are writing student friendly English. Guideline used for preparing financial statements. Now when I talk about company final accounts, alright, then company final accounts are prepared based upon what? Schedule 3? Schedule 3? Yes. Schedule 3 and Ind AS. Okay. Schedule 3 and Ind AS. Now for the students who want jokes in Hindi and stuff, I have told you can join Hindi English version. Alright. In South India lectures, I will not use Hindi. Okay, that is for sure. Okay. because then they complain, because they feel that in the joke I have taught some concept, right? And they genuinely don't understand the Hindi. I've been to Bangalore, Chennai, everywhere, and I've met the students. It's not like they don't want to; they genuinely don't understand. Right? Okay. So guideline use of preparing financial statements. When I talk about company final accounts, right? Schedule 3 and Ind AS. That is the applicable financial reporting framework for company final accounts. Okay. But I want to teach this concept differently. Tell me, when I say financial statements, first of all, you have historical financial statements and you have prospective financial statements. Historical financial statements and you have prospective financial statements. Prospective is your future projection. Now, prospective financial statements, I don't want to talk too much about it because we will cover in SAE series. Alright. Now, when I say historical financial statements are of two types: general purpose financial statements and special purpose financial statements. General purpose financial statements and special purpose financial statements. Come on, man. The moment I write special purpose, what does that mean? That is prepared only for some specific users. For example, let us say you are going to bring an investor into your company. Let us say you are running a private limited company. You are going to bring an investor into your company. If you are going to bring an investor into your company, that investor has his own requirement. Let us say that investor is from US and he has his own requirement. Tell boss, I don't like your balance sheet and P&L. Please give it to me in this format. Now you are preparing in a format which is given by the investor to satisfy the needs of all the stakeholders or to satisfy the needs of that particular investor. To satisfy the needs of that particular investor. That is going to become special purpose financial statement. Financial statements prepared. See, when you are writing, you have seen 3 Idiots, right? So you have to understand everything like Rancho. But if you write like Chatur, okay. So financial statements prepared to serve financial information needs of the intended users. Financial statements prepared to serve financial information needs of the intended users. Example, financial statements prepared for a private investor. So if you're going to Shark Tank India, you're preparing financial statements specifically for Namita. She is my favorite. Right. So financial statements prepared for a private investor. Okay. Now general purpose financial statements is your company final accounts which you are seeing day in and day out here. Alright. So obviously, but how do I write it? What are the exact words that I use? Financial statements prepared to serve common financial information needs. Common financial information needs of all users of financial statements. So all the users, all the stakeholders, whatever they want to see in common, alright, generally commonly prepared for them, that is general purpose financial statement. Now, why it is important for you to know this GPFS and SPFS? Don't just study the concepts, try to understand what will happen with you. So if they give you questions where financial statements are prepared to serve information needs of particular specific users, then you should bloody understand that it deals with the concept of special purpose financial statements. And you know what? For special purpose financial statements, there is only one SA 800. Alright. So from here itself, your application based question starts. If there is any question on special purpose financial statements and it deals with audit, don't think about any other standard. There is only one essay that we're going to think of, and that is SA 800. This will be helpful for me in future lectures. Okay. So tell me, for any question that deals with special purpose financial statements, which standard? One more time. For any Zoom, you can type and participate. For any question that deals with special purpose financial statements, which standard? Wrong. What if the question deals with special purpose financial statements but says that you have been appointed to review? Then it is not a question of SA series at all. Then it is a question of SRE. And that is what IC had done in one of the mock test papers. They gave this special purpose financial statements. Now students, a very impatient category of people. What happens in audit subject, the moment you feel that you know the answer, you're so excited that you end up ignoring the entire question. Whereas look at your attitude in FM subject and FR and stuff. FM. Sir, are we supposed to round off till 3 decimals or 4 decimals? Or 5th decimal is not required, right? Look at your kind of questions that I get in audit. Sir, if we write the title of standards, suppose we don't know the answer, but if we write the title, they will give us marks, na? The attitude itself is different. In audit, no one wants to read the entire question. They are like, even if you know 1 or 2 lines of the question, you are done with that. So many students on an impatient manner, the moment they saw special purpose financial statements, they ended up writing SA 800, but the question was actually dealing with review on it. And the category that of reference that was required, it was SRE. So I repeat, any question of SPFS, don't think it is SA 800. If the question has a combo of SPFS and audit, I repeat, if the question has a combo of SPFS and audit, then it will be a question of SA 800. Alright. Now everyone over here. Your SA 200 to SA 720, the 35 standards, they deal with audit of general purpose financial statements. Audit of general purpose financial statements. Okay. Now I'm going to expand this discussion of general purpose financial statements. Okay. Now listen to me. So I'm very happy that even though there are few students attending over here, I'm very happy that you are from audit field, right? Audit of listed entities. So tell me, in your practical life, you have gone through such phases where you or your partner or manager, you suggest some management to give some notes to accounts, and they will say no, we will not write it. Or you suggest some accounting entry and they say no. All right. You tell them, Arey Baba, you need to show this in the notes to accounts, in the disclosures, and they are like, no, we have given all the disclosures as per Schedule 3 and Ind AS. We will not give too many disclosures. You are asking us, you are demanding too much from us. Have you gone through such phases? Yes, it happens, no? Normally in corporate clients, I know we always keep on telling them, you write this in the notes to accounts, add this in the note, add this in the note. And the common argument that we get from CFO is, it was whatever was required as per Schedule 3, AS, Ind AS, we have given it. You are asking us to give too many extra notes. We are not going to give those notes. Still you tell them, no, please give it in the notes to account. This is very important. You please write, include one more note. And let us say there is some matter which you want to be disclosed in the notes to accounts. CFO says, nice answer. So they tell us next quarter. CFO says that we have given all the disclosures as per Schedule 3, AS, Ind AS, whatever was required. But you still want that particular matter in the notes to accounts. You feel it is extremely important, but they are not giving it in the notes to accounts. My question to you is, if they have given all the disclosures as per AS, Ind AS, Schedule 3, everything, and still if you want some notes to accounts, which they are not ready to include, my question to you is, will you qualify the report for that? Will you say that boss, financial statements are materially misstated? Or will you say that at least give a qualified opinion that they are showing a true and fair view except for the following? Will you take that stand? Come on, you want application based, no? This is practical life. Will you take that stand? What is the way out over here? Come on, your interview is going on. What is the way out over here? I'm a big four interviewer and your interview is going on. What is the way out? How are you going to deal with this situation? You want some matter in the notes to accounts. They are not ready to give it in the notes to accounts. Their argument is we have given everything, all right, as per AS, Ind AS, Schedule 3 and stuff. All right. But you want that particular item in the notes to accounts and they are not ready to give it in the notes to accounts. What will be your stand in that case? How will you deal with that matter? We can write it somewhere in the audit report. There are some extra paragraphs which you had studied in inter-CA, emphasis of matter, other matter, key audit matter. There are lots of other paragraphs, right? The answer is wrong. You will have to qualify the report. Now listen to me very carefully. If you download Schedule 3, there is one line in Schedule 3. It says that the disclosures given by Schedule 3 are minimum disclosures. Management of the company is expected to provide additional disclosures if the situation so demands. You can download Schedule 3 and check today. Even if you download Ind AS, AS, the very first AS or the very first Ind AS itself uses the concept of materiality. After every AS, Ind AS, there are some disclosures. But you know what? All the disclosures which are given by AS, Ind AS are minimum disclosures, not maximum disclosures. That means client is expected to give those disclosures. And additionally, as an auditor, you can always tell them to provide additional disclosures beyond what is required as per AS, Ind AS and Schedule 3. Both accounting standards as well as Schedule 3, both of them have minimum disclosure concept. All right. And not only disclosure concept. The list of disclosures that you see in AS as well as Schedule 3 is inclusive and it is not exhaustive. All right. That is why you can always ask clients to give more disclosures, because in audit report we say financial statements are showing a true and so we need fair view. It is not only about truthness, it is also about fairness. And if you don't give us the fair view, then how can we give a clean opinion? So don't adjust with the client in this manner. We'll include it somewhere in our audit report. You please clear our fees. So everyone over here, you know what? In audit English, Schedule 3, AS, Ind AS is called as fair presentation framework. Any framework which gives us the flexibility to request the client and to include additional disclosures, where we can say it with authority that hello, you have to give additional disclosure. Such kind of framework is called as fair presentation framework. All right. Wait, I'll give example and everything in the notes, don't worry. Secondly, if you are staying in a cooperative housing society, in Mumbai obviously we don't have concept of bungalows. So if you are staying in a cooperative housing society, go to the secretary of that society and ask them to disclose the final accounts of the society along with the audit report and stuff. Let me tell you, the worst accounts that I've ever seen are cooperative society accounts. You know what happens in a cooperative society accounts? There is a registrar. Every region has its registrar of cooperative societies. That registrar gives a final accounts format. Okay. Now listen to me. This is a very important concept. That registrar gives the final accounts format. That final accounts format, our society will use it. The society, cooperative housing societies are compulsorily, they are supposed to use the final accounts format which is given by the registrar. They cannot develop their own format or own disclosures and stuff. So let us say there is this format, okay, and society, what it will do? They will fill up the accounts in the format. They will get it audited. You know what? The worst part of this format is that registrar has never issued even one circular which says that management is expected to provide additional disclosures. These are just minimum disclosures. The concept that is recognized by Schedule 3 accounting standards and stuff, that the disclosures are minimum disclosures and management is supposed to give additional disclosures if the situation so demands, that concept is not recognized by registrars of cooperative housing societies. Okay. And that is the reason when you look at their final accounts format, you will just see Simple format, minimum disclosures, all right, minimum notes to accounts, whatever is required by the registrar. Such kind of frameworks where we cannot force the management to provide additional disclosures. Such kind of frameworks are called as compliance framework. Which framework? Look at the name. They just want compliance. Whereas the Schedule 3, AS Ind AS, they not only want compliance, but they also want fair presentation. Now wait, why I am teaching this concept? Because in the question, if the question deals with compliance framework, the biggest thing that you will study today, if the question deals with compliance framework, in such audit reports, while expressing an opinion, we cannot use the word true and fair view. I repeat, if the question deals with compliance framework, in such audit report, we cannot use the word true and fair view. We are not allowed to. Because where is the fair view? The only thing that we are allowed to write is that these financial statements are materially prepared in accordance with the applicable financial reporting framework. We cannot use the word fair view over there. So look at how the questions will be framed. Okay. So everyone start writing. General purpose financial statements are divided into two. I mean, I will not say divided into two. I'll say there are two types of frameworks. You have to be very careful in the question. 99% question will be from a corporate company. So 99% question will be for frame presentation framework. But if I am the paper setter, I would like to test the waters. And I'll give a question on compliance framework. What is fair presentation framework? In a fair presentation framework, obviously it requires compliance with the framework. See, Schedule 3, AS, Ind AS, it is not optional. Obviously, you have to follow it. However, the best part is plus, so and. There is an additional responsibility on management to achieve fair presentation. Additional responsibility on management to achieve fair presentation. Best example, you have Companies Act 2013, Schedule 3 plus either AS or Ind AS. That final CA to Ind AS. Yes, everyone on Zoom, are you writing it? Please keep on writing. I will not share this PDF. I want the students to write it. All right. For first couple of lectures, I will share because students, that book delivery and stuff is still going on. Okay. Companies Act 2013, Schedule 3 plus AS or Ind AS. Done? Compliance framework. Now, till the point of time you don't know these concepts, I cannot start even a single standard. It requires compliance with the framework. It just requires compliance with the framework. It is silent on additional responsibility of the management to achieve fair presentation. It is silent on additional responsibility of the management to achieve fair presentation. Example, cooperative society accounts. Let me tell you, when it comes to cooperative society, every state has its own act. So Maharashtra Cooperative Society Act is on compliance framework only. There are certain states who have adopted fair presentation framework also. So 99% audit reports of cooperative societies, you will see that auditor will not use the word true and fair view. But it is possible that one or two cooperative societies which are registered under different acts, right? The auditors may use the word true and fair view. It requires compliance with the framework. It is silent on additional responsibility of the management to achieve fair presentation. Example, cooperative society accounts. Alright. Now why we are studying this? Somewhere I think on the right hand side you may have some empty space. So when you are expressing an audit opinion, if it is a question dealing with fair presentation framework, you are allowed to use the phrase true and fair view or presented fairly. Basically you can use the word fair. Use these concepts in your day-to-day life. It is like when you in the morning when you get ready, all right, there are some people who will just wear the clothes that are required, will not do any makeup, all right, nothing, whatever is bare minimum required to get out of the house, they will do it. That is compliance framework, all right. And there are some people who will be tip top ready, all right, when you look at them it is very pleasing to the eye. That is fair presentation framework. So compliance framework, that is how I talk to my wife. Wow, today you have fair presentation framework. Compliance framework, you cannot use this phrase. You cannot use this phrase. But let me tell you, laws and in-laws are exception to everything, unless otherwise required by law. Tomorrow, if there is a cooperative society law which bloody says that you have to use this phrase true and fair, then we will use it. We should not compromise with our business. If the law says that, I will use it. But conceptually, I should not use the phrase true and fair view when it comes to compliance framework. So even though you may have used this word applicable financial reporting framework at Inter-CA, ask yourself whether you had used this word with this concept or it was just using the word. Alright. So this is the concept that is required behind that word, applicable financial reporting framework. It will help me across the entire subject. I want a confirmation. Are you clear with this? Yes. Alright. Next. Second concept. Basic fundamentals of audit of financial statements. Basic fundamentals of audit of financial statements. Keep writing, keep writing. Today your hands will be utilized for the right purpose. Basic fundamentals of audit of financial statements. Alright. Hey, come on, you know this. Preparation, presentation of financial statement is the responsibility of management. So I just want those 4 or 5 lines very clear. You may know the concept, but the words, I'm worried about the words. Preparation and presentation of financial statements as per applicable financial reporting framework is the responsibility of management Come on, there is always one word which we used to write besides management. The lovebirds. Management and TCWG, those charged with governance. Okay, let me understand whether you know this practically or not. Those charged with governance. Tell me, accounts manager, okay, CEO, CFO, board of directors, audit committee. Option A, B, C, D, E. Chalo, I write this A, B, C, D so that in Zoom you can participate. So tell me, who is the management over here and who is those charged with governance? A is management or TCWG? Come on, guess. Accounts manager is a part of management or those charged with governance? Management. CEO? Management, not those charged with governance. Okay. Someone says neither of these is management. Saturday night. All right. CFO, management. Board of directors, it could be a mix of management, those charged with governance. Audit committee, for sure it is those charged with governance. How do I decide? The one who is executing, anyone who is responsible for execution is management. And the one who gives strategic direction, not only strategic direction, the one who supervises the management, the one who supervises the management is those charged with governance. All right. So I repeat, the one who executes is the management, and the one who gives strategic direction and performs supervisory activities and who supervises the management is those charged with governance. I repeat, the one who executes is the management, and the one who gives strategic direction plus supervising management is those charged with governance. So CEO, CFO, managerial positions are all normally part of management. Board of directors, audit committee are normally part of those charged with governance. Yes, please tell me. Yeah, I'll go to the example. Acha, why this discussion is important? During the entire subject, there are few matters where the essay will tell you report this matter only to those charged with governance. And they have put that in practical MCQs. Then you will report to whom? Alright. Such kind of questions are there at final C level. So tell me, yes. Is those charged with governance? No. Because CEO is the ultimate person responsible for execution. So you can call this person as management and this one as senior management. Alright. So CFO is also senior management because he is the ultimate authority for preparation of financial statements. So if you look at listed entities, CFO and stuff, they will be involved in the preparation of financial statements. Accounts manager will be there at ground level. But the entire the entire presentation part, signing part, discussion part will be done at those charged with governance meetings, the BOD audit committee meetings. Alright. Okay. So everyone over here. That is why I'm just discussing this. You know it, preparation and presentation of financial statement is the responsibility of management. Alright. Just that I want to discuss few words. Chalo, tell me. Prevention and detection of fraud and error is the responsibility of management, auditor, or both of these? Obviously management. Primarily management. Very good answer. Superb answer. When it comes to prevention, detection of fraud and error, first responsibility will be of the management. I'm not saying auditor is not responsible at all. Auditor's main objective is to express an opinion. However, auditor is supposed to maintain an attitude of professional skepticism. So during the course of audit, if auditor comes across something suspicious, then he is expected to investigate. So when it comes to prevention, detection of fraud and error, very good answer. I'm very impressed. Primary responsibility will be of the management and those charged with governance. However, we cannot say auditor is not responsible at all. Although auditor is not James Bond, his main job is not to detect fraud. But secondary responsibility will be of the auditor. So if auditor was negligent, then obviously he can be held liable. At inter-C level, when you hear about audit subject, it feels like, oh my god, this is very exciting. At during articleship, we'll check everything, we will ask questions. And when you get into articleship, you realize that even to get the data for bank reconciliation statement is also a struggle. Prevention, detection of fraud and error. Primary responsibility of management in TCWG, secondary responsibility of the auditor. So this is just a brush up of what you have done at inter-C. Auditor's primary duty is to express an opinion on the financial statements. But tell me, when he is expressing an opinion, he will provide which assurance? Reasonable assurance. Auditor's primary duty is to express an opinion on a financial statements, provide reasonable assurance. Auditor should maintain an attitude of, you know this word, right? Professional skepticism. What is the meaning of the word professional skepticism? That is where you have problem. Maintaining alertness. Maintaining alertness and a questioning mind. Don't doubt, but you can always ask questions. Don't doubt unnecessarily and don't trust your client blindly. Keep asking questions. Maintaining alertness and a questioning mind. Just like how your partners, they maintain a very good questioning mind. What will be the fees? What will be out of pocket expense? Whether we will be able to renew the client or not. Auditor should maintain an attitude of professional skepticism, maintaining alertness and a questioning mind. But whenever you write professional skepticism, always use this throughout the audit. Right from planning to reporting stage. We need to maintain an attitude of professional skepticism throughout the audit. If you are following ILNFS case, Amrapali real estate, Sahara case, lots of cases, alright. If you have been following the website of National Financial Reporting Authority, NFRA, you will see there are certain orders on chartered accountants where some chartered accountants have been suspended, some chartered accountants have lost their degree, they have been terminated. So when it comes to this fraud detection, obviously these cases are heard for 3-4 months and stuff, and then the decision is taken. Why? Because auditor's primary duty is not to detect fraud. Auditor can be held liable for fraud only if it is proven, only if it is proved that he was grossly negligent. See, you may have the concept in your mind, but just drafting it in proper words. Like some students write, auditor can be held liable for fraud if it is proven that he did not do his work properly or he was careless. I will not give you marks. I want the words grossly negligent. Alright. So write down please. Some students, they fast forward the lectures thinking that they know the concept. And do you really think you are only for concept over here? No, it is about the words also. Auditor can be held liable for fraud in the financial statements only if it is proved that he was grossly negligent in the conduct of his duties. Auditor can be held liable for fraud in the financial statements only if it is proved that he was grossly negligent in the conduct of his duties. Alright. Hey, you guys utilize the page judiciously. It is just that I am writing in a little larger font size and stuff and on PDF. That is why. Some students are playing over here. Okay. Madam, judicious use. Okay. Use it horizontally, properly, full entire line. Otherwise, at the end, you will struggle. Okay. So, basic fundamentals of audit of financial statement. Never ever forget these lines, especially the lines that when it comes to fraud and error, it is the secondary duty of the auditor. An auditor can be held liable for fraud in the financial statements only if it is proven that he was grossly negligent in the conduct of his duties. Alright. So, everyone over here. Next concept. Come on, few words we are just revising. Write down concept of audit evidence. Concept of audit evidence. Yeah, you can continue. You can just leave one line and continue also. That's okay. Whatever is judicious use of the pages, please. Okay. But there will be lots of things that you are going to write. On the unnecessarily, otherwise you'll have to staple pages and stuff. Alright. Audit evidence. Hey, come on, man. You know this. Auditor needs to obtain which evidence? Ah, yes. Auditor should obtain sufficient and appropriate audit evidence. Okay. Sufficiency means, hey, come on, interest here, come on. Sufficiency means quantity. Appropriateness means quality. Quantity means how much information do you want, and quality means relevance and reliability. Relevance means logical connection. Reliability means, sir, something which we can trust. I don't want such kind of chatting English. Reliability means information should be complete and accurate. Everyone knows Bahubali was no one but Prabhas. When you say Prabhas, you don't get the feel. But when you say Bahubali, you get the feel. I want that Bahubali. Prabhas is fine. I know you know Prabhas. So, auditor should obtain sufficient and appropriate audit evidence. Sufficiency means quantity, appropriateness means quality, relevance and reliability, complete and accurate. Okay. Now tell me, when auditor is obtaining sufficient and appropriate audit evidence, obviously he has to perform audit procedures. Fine. Tell me, what are the audit techniques that auditor uses? Just give me some words. Yeah, we will conduct inquiry, observation, yeah, recalculation. I'm not writing recalculation, it is very basic. Reperformance. What is reperformance? We will ask the client that, boss, what you have done from start to end, and then we will again redo it. Whatever they have done from start to end, we'll redo it. Then analytical procedures. What is analytical procedures? Ratios, comparisons, trend analysis. I am just writing the main techniques. External confirmation, third party confirmation. If you don't know analytical procedures, it is ratios, comparisons, trend analysis and stuff. Just that few words, you should know it. Rather than just writing in every line, check whether, check whether, check whether, check whether, check whether, check whether. If you use inspect, inquire, observe, just adds a little bit more, a good quality layer to your answer. Aesthetic, huh? All right. Now, let me just test your knowledge. If you know this, then I'll not give this point in the notes. So tell me, purchase invoice. Purchase invoice is internal evidence or external evidence? Alright, tell me, Baba. I for internal, E for external. You tell me, purchase invoice is internal or external? Internal evidence. Purchase invoice is an external evidence. Now listen to me. When I ask you the type of evidence, don't look at the current location. Look at the origin of the document. Alright. So purchase invoice was generated by your client or by the supplier? Supplier. So what is the origin, is inside the entity or outside the entity? Outside the entity. Alright. So now please write. Please write down type of evidence. Type of evidence. Because all of this, I will need this knowledge in some or the other standards. Based upon source of information, based upon nature of information. Based upon source of information, based upon nature of information. Source means you please look at the origin of the document. The source, not the current location. Origin. All right. And based upon nature of information, either it is visual evidence, or it is oral evidence, or it is written evidence. That is fine. I don't need to give examples for that. Internal evidence. Sales invoice is internal evidence. Purchase invoice is external evidence. That is why it takes a little bit of time for me to start with standards. Because if it is a costing lecture or FR lecture, at least professors can assume that you know the basics of inter-CA. Like standard costing, professor will not start from very basic. Right? I cannot assume that. Because my friends who teach at inter-CA level have used such high level shortcuts in teaching students. Right? I am finding it extremely difficult to survive in inter-CA market now. Right? Because of all that 10 hours audit, 8 hours audit. So sales invoice, purchase invoice. Then, come on, now you tell me. BRS is I for internal or E for external? Internal or external? BRS. BRS is internal. Once you know the concept, I know you will be able to do it. And bank statement is external evidence. Come on, Zoom, please keep answering. BRS is internal evidence. Alright. No need for more examples. Okay. Tell me something. When it comes to the nature of audit evidence, the nature of audit evidence. Tell me, do you need 100% proof for everything? As an auditor, do you need 100% proof for everything? No. I just need an evidence which can convince me. Alright. So nature of audit evidence is cumulative and persuasive. Let me try to understand whether you are understanding this or not. Cumulative and persuasive. What is cumulative? Achha, when it comes to purchase, you will check purchase invoice, purchase order, contract with the supplier. So you are gathering information from various sources, then you are tallying it. So that is cumulative. And if it tallies, you are convinced. That is persuasive. So when you accumulate information from 2-3 sources, when you tally and if you are convinced, so that is what we say that audit evidence should be cumulative and persuasive. One more time, audit evidence should be cumulative and persuasive. Alright, that is the nature. Achha, tell me practically, if you send an email to the dater, alright, just to confirm the amount, and if the dater does not reply, then what will be the next step? I repeat, you send an email to the dater does not reply. What will be the next step? What do you think? What will be the next step? Dater is not replying. Kya karega? Follow. My God. You are going to use that word from 10:30 on. Alright, so follow. Okay, still is not replying. But practically what you are going to do? Alternate procedures means. Can I say that it is better to change the sample, ask confirmation from some other dater? Out of 100, you have 10 daters. Alright, 10 daters for which from whom you are confirming. If one of them is not replying, change the sample. Even we want to leave at 6 p.m. Practically you do it, but you will not write it in the notes. So when I say alternate procedure, I need to know what is going on in your mind. I hope you're not thinking about changing the data itself. When I say alternate procedure, means you want to verify the same data. If you want to go to Goa, One road is not working, one road is stopped, blocked, then instead of Goa, we will not reach to Agra. We want to go to Goa, but by an alternate route. So when I say alternate procedure, means you will check the, yes, verify the agreement, sales invoice, all right, the receipts, the bank receipts and stuff. Right? So everyone over here, how do I write it? If the intended evidence is not available, but I know sometimes practically we change the sample itself to get the work done. The answer is not available, change the question. If the intended evidence is not available, the jugards of articleship. If the intended evidence is not available, then auditor shall perform alternate audit procedures. If intended evidence is not available, then auditor shall perform alternate audit procedures to obtain another persuasive or corroborative evidence. I repeat, if the intended evidence is not available, then auditor shall perform alternate audit procedures to obtain another persuasive. Persuasive means convincing. What is the meaning of the word corroborative? Related information. When you are trying to dig something further, that is corroborative. Sometimes we have to use some words not to by heart it, but to understand the question. So in the question, if they say that auditor is not able to corroborate further, right, then in that case you should understand that he has reached the maximum point. He is not able to verify that item. He tried his level best, but he is not able to verify the item. Alright, so corroborate means to find related information. Alright, but I need to give you one demo today of the kind of questions that they are going to ask. Alright, and why we are discussing practically. So if you can please come to the question bank. Just one question that we will practice, because it is connected with the concept that we are doing. So SA 500 deals with audit evidence. Alright, question number 4. Question number 4. I think it is page number 30. दीवाल में घुस जाएगा अंदर. Question number 4. I will not translate that in English. During the course of audit of TK Home Private Limited, Wall will absorb him. During the course of audit of TK Home Private Limited, a recognized export house engaged in manufacturing of t-shirts under brand name of TK. CA Tripti. Tripti. Is verifying export revenues of the company for the year 22-23. She has verified transactions entered in export sales account maintained in accounting software from relevant export invoices. The export sales are being made on payment of IGST, for which a refund is automatically credited in the account of the company after the goods are shipped. On inquiring from internal audit staff regarding the recognition of export revenues, she is told that export sales are recognized for the year on the basis of bill of lading. However, she is not convinced with such a response and feels that the same does not appear to be proper. She finds that 3 export invoices bearing dates in the month of March 23, having a value of 75 lakhs, have not been recognized in export revenue, on the ground that bills of lading for these invoices were issued in the month of April 23. Discuss from what sources she can obtain reliable audit evidence in this regard. How can she challenge management's assertion regarding the completeness of export revenues for the year 22-23? Welcome to CA Final. Hardik Swagat hai. Now tell me. First of all, some students did not look at the question properly because they are still in that inter-CA mindset. Now, when they came to the last line, they realized that bloody this is actually an application-based question. Because in inter CA, even though you had application based, the last line used to be theory question. So now genuinely you have to help Tripti, that how she can verify this. Alright, tell me. Bring out the Ran Vijay and help Tripti. What is the main issue over here? Let us discuss step by step. What is the main issue over here? What is the item that is being verified? Purchase or sales? Sales. And that also they are verifying which revenues? Export revenues. Alright. Now forget about everything. Tell me, if you are the auditor of a company which has export revenues, what should be the point of recognition? Okay, so here you have the factory. Alright. Let us say goods are taken out from the factory. Then you have the dockyard over here. Alright. Then the goods are shipped. And let us say here UK, there is a UK buyer. Alright. And Indian seller. So this is Mumbai dockyard. And this is UK dockyard. Now this Indian seller, the exporter, when that person should recognize this revenue? When the goods come out of the factory? Or when they are loaded into the ship? Alright. Or when they reach the UK buyer? When exactly is this Indian exporter supposed to recognize the revenue? Based on the terms. Based on the terms. Now the terms are, different terms. Sometimes you have terms of, that okay, the moment goods are shipped out of the factory, the goods are moved out of the factory. The moment goods come out of the factory, it is the buyer's risk. Alright. There are some terms, which say that till the point of time goods do not reach the UK buyer, it will remain the seller's risk. So only when the goods reach UK buyer, alright, then the revenue becomes, we will say that he has earned the income, the Indian exporter. So there are various terms. One, when it comes out of the factory. Second, when the goods get loaded. Third, when it reaches the UK seller. Alright. It depends upon the contract. It depends upon the contract. Correct? Alright. What is the contract? Tell me. Now tell me, what is the system that company is using? Company is recognizing revenue based on what is the meaning of bills of lading? That the moment it is loaded on the ship. What is the meaning of bill of lading? That it is loaded on the ship. After that, company is recognizing the revenue. However, she is not convinced with such a response and feels that the same does not appear to be proper. She finds that 3 export invoices bearing the invoice date belongs to March 23. But it was not recognized in the financial year 22-23 because the bill of lading were issued in April 23. My question to you is that company is recognizing based upon bill of lading. Tripti says that when you generate export invoice, you should recognize it. Alright. Tell me, who is correct over here? Management is correct. That bill of lading is proper revenue recognition principle. Because then if bill of lading is proper revenue recognition, then April 23 the bill of lading has been issued, but goods actually belong to, the sale actually belongs to March 23. Then what to do? Right. Now, so you have applied your brain. Everyone has taken their own stand. At least some stand you will have to take when this comes into the exam. My stand is that when the invoice gets generated, alright, when the invoice gets generated, what will be the name of that invoice? Title of that invoice? Sales invoice. No? Now, when my software is generating invoice, that means the sale is done. Alright. Later on, see, if I generate the invoice of 3 crores, means the sale is done. I have to pass the sale entry. Later on, let us say if it becomes refundable, or let us say I have to take the goods back due to the terms and conditions, then I will create provisions or I will reverse the entry. Alright. But the moment I generate invoice, what is the meaning of that document? When do you generate invoice? Acha, tell me, think from GST angle. When I generate invoice in the month of March, tell me whether that GST becomes payable or not. Yes or no? Yes. Why GST becomes payable? Because it is a sale. It is a sale. That is why GST becomes payable. Otherwise, why department is levying GST? Are you getting my point? So the system that should be used in the market is that you recognize it. Only then the GST things will tally, na? You recognize it. Then later on, whatever be the terms, all right, that seller is responsible for XYZ, whatever it is, you create a provision entry. All right. And then based upon the terms, whenever it becomes recognizable, you reverse the provision entry. But when you bloody generate invoice, you will have to at least pass a sales entry. Otherwise, what will you do in your accounting software? Are you getting my point? Yes. Tell me, are you convinced with my answer? Yes. Zoom mein people are not participating. Then it is better that I just record it in camera. Yes. Yes. Okay. So everyone over here. When we look at the answer, all right, page number 246. What was that? Question number 4. Please come to page number 246. Achha, please keep this habit. Besides the question number, write the page number of the answer. So that when you are, in your self-study mode, it will not take a lot of time. Heavy ho gaya, huh? Weightlifting. Alright, so at least in the first few lectures, bring book 1A and question bank. 1B is not required, non-essay book is not required. Question number 4. Please read this answer. Achha, it is a fast track batch, but we are going to discuss questions. Huh? Please read this answer. The main line is that bloody when exporters, I don't know how much of GST law you are done with, but exporters, they claim an IGST refund. Alright, based upon the government schemes. Now this IGST refund is linked with monthly sales return. So when you generate the invoice, you will have to pass the sales entry. She can point out that export revenues are understated. So tell me, in order to answer question number 4, do you think that you really need my lectures? No. You need accounting knowledge, you need GST knowledge, okay? And then you can answer question number 4. Let me tell you, about 20% of the paper you will be able to answer even if you don't attend my lectures, provided your accounts and taxation concepts are clear. 20% of the paper, and this is that part of 20%. Now you will realize that why I've printed questions first and answers at the back. Just ask yourself, if this answer was printed below the question, do you think you would have taken 2 minutes to think about the answer? No. You will straight away read the answer, and that is where your mind is not getting developed. Right? You have to read the question, think about the answer, develop your mind, give 5 minutes to it, alright, and then tally with the answer. Straight away don't read question answers. There is a technique through which you can score an exemption provided you follow my instructions. Am I clear with this? Yes. So this was dependent on the concept of audit evidence. So I just thought that because we were discussing the concept, let me add some practical touch to it. Alright. So please remind yourself that when you even during your self-study, when you are reading the concept of audit evidence, you should solve question number 4 from SA 500. This will just give you that feeling that okay, this subject is practical. Grand welcome to Final CA. So now please think and answer and try to participate. Right? It is all up to you. Okay. We will continue our discussion. We are done with the concept of audit evidence. Although there are lots of things that I want to discuss, but that I will discuss in 500 series essays. Now next concept. Concept number 4. Concept of assertions. Concept of assertions. All right. Everyone over here. What do you understand by the word assertions? See, now when you are looking at the watch, suppose if you are looking at the watch, that means I should understand that you want to leave the lecture or you want 5 minutes break or something like that. I'm not going to give that. But when you keep on looking at the watch, even when your watch is not working, right? When you keep on looking at the watch, that is, you are trying to explain something to me. You are trying to give some hints, okay? And I will verify it. That why you are looking at your watch again and again, what is the problem and stuff. I will enter into an argument with you. I'll try to understand what is going on in your mind. So you are giving me an assertion and I am trying to understand something from those assertions. Similarly, as an auditor, when we are auditing financial statements are prepared by whom? By the management. So when management prepares balance sheet, P&L, cash flow, notes to accounts, that means management is giving you some assertion. As an auditor, we need to verify those assertions. So concept of assertions is very simple. Write down. Representations. If you force me too much for break or something, then I'll have to cut down my discussions. Then, like how I give 5 to 6 minutes to Tripti question number 4. I will give only 2 minutes then. Then I can give you breaks. Then you think you want break of 5 minutes, 6 months. Representations or explanations. Because when you have entered a fast track batch, please enter with a steel mindset. Representations or explanations made by the management. So whatever management is trying to explain, where they are trying to explain, in their Aadhaar card? No, in the financial statements. Representations or explanations made by the management in the financial statements. About what? They are explaining about their wives? No, about TBDs, transactions, balances and disclosures. Representations or explanations made by the management in the financial statements about TBDs, transactions, balances and disclosures. Either directly or indirectly. Directly, indirectly, whatever you are trying to explain, I want to verify that. So it is very simple. Down arrow. Auditor should obtain sufficient and appropriate audit evidence to verify what? Management's assertions in the financial statements. You decide whether you want to be a kid or a legend. Kids will say, auditor should obtain sufficient and appropriate audit evidence to express an opinion on the financial statement. They will not go beyond that. You tell me that auditor should obtain sufficient and appropriate audit evidence to verify management's assertions in the financial statements. This is legendary attitude. One more time. Auditor should obtain sufficient and appropriate audit evidence to verify management's assertions in the financial statements. But again, we need to discuss practically. Important assertions to be verified. Important assertions to be verified. What are the important assertions to be verified? See, main thing is balance sheet and P&L. See, cash flow statement is just a derivation. Main thing is balance sheet and P&L. In P&L, you see transactions. In balance sheet, you see balances. So, assertions about transactions and assertions about balances. Assertions about transactions and assertions about balances. Yes, sir. Okay. So everyone over here, let me discuss practically. Tell me, uh, uh, okay, the stock count as on year end, which is done by the employees, and we visit, just for observation inspection. When I when I visit, when I attend the stock count as on year end, what am I trying to verify? Dash of inventory. What am I trying to verify? Very good. Existence of inventory. Alright. Madam, you were saying valuation? Balance sheet. Okay. But I understand inventory we are verifying. But what exactly? Existence of inventory. This is practical discussion. Now tell me, when I am verifying, alright, the cost and the NRV of finished goods, what is my intention? What am I trying to verify? What am I trying to verify? Valuation of inventory. Alright. So please understand, every single procedure is performed to verify some or the other assertions. Come on, come with me. Every single procedure is performed to verify some or the other assertion. Audit procedures are always performed to verify some or the other assertions. All right, come on, we'll continue. Wait, let us say I am verifying finished goods, raw material, WIP. All right, whether it is correctly categorized. Whether it is correctly categorized. That means finished goods should be in finished goods only, raw material in raw material, WIP in WIP. Classification. Very good. तो क्या बोला? Presentation. Right. Not bad. But see, what is the difference between classification and presentation? See, classification means whether things are getting recorded in the correct account or not. Presentation and disclosure is just about the format. When I'm worried whether inventory is properly shown under current assets, whatever disclosures are required by AS or Ind AS, whatever it is, whether those disclosures have been given or not, that is presentation and disclosure. Okay. Tell me, when I am, let us say this is the actual go down, the storage location and the books of accounts. So let us say here you have when I visited, I saw that there is an inventory of 200 units. Alright, but in the books of accounts it was only of 180 units. Alright, that means something was missed out in the books of accounts. What am I trying to verify? Good. Completeness. Completeness means there should be no omission. Completeness means there should be no omission. So when I'm trying to find out something, whether this is complete or not, alright, there seems to be some omission over here. If you look at that question number 4 of Tripti, she was actually trying to verify whether this revenue is complete or not. It should not be understated. It should not be understated. Alright. So she was trying to verify whether there is no omission over there. If you see, some invoices were omitted because they had recorded in April instead of March. Alright. So if I am the paper setter, I will ask the same question of Tripti. Alright. And I will ask you which assertion she is verifying. In same question I'll use in MCQ. And I'll ask you that which assertion is being verified by Tripti? Accuracy, completeness. So you will have to go for completeness, because when I'm worried, oh my god, nothing should be missed out. Alright, that means I'm trying to verify completeness. Alright, okay. When you are verifying whether the format is followed or not, the notes to accounts have been given or not, that is your presentation and disclosure. Okay. But tell me, many a times, you will see this transaction in practical life. That company will use inventory as a security and will hypothecate with the bank, and bank will give them some working capital loan, which you call it in your practical life as drawing power, or you may be using the word CC or OD. Alright, what is the transaction of that CC OD? That company will create a security on inventory. Hello banker, normally I have a stock of around 3-4 crores on a daily basis. Alright, so please give me some working capital loan. If I am not able to repay the loan, you can come to my storage location and take away my inventory. Alright. So tell me, when I am verifying this entire transaction, what am I trying to verify? Rights and obligations. What are the rights over the inventory of the company and what are its obligations? Alright. So listen to me very carefully. any item of balance sheet, all right, you always want to verify EVR CCD. You want to verify whether it is in existence or not. You want to verify the valuation. You want to verify the rights and obligations. Start writing, please. You can revise through songs also. That Bollywood famous song, "Tu hai ke nahi," that is for existence. And that singer is trying to verify existence. Song I cannot translate in English. Whether you are there or no. Alright. Existence, valuation. I'll bring some songs from South movies also next time. Existence, valuation, rights and obligation. Okay. These words are self-explanatory. No? You don't want me to explain the word existence, whether this is in existence or not. Alright. Then CCD. But there are some words which final year students end up misunderstanding, like completeness. So for completeness, please write down that there should be no omission. Like classification, they mix classification with presentation. Classification, whether it is in correct account or not. And D, disclosure and presentation, or presentation and disclosure. That is just your format and notes to accounts. Yes, Niharika. Correct. Done? Now, assertions about transactions. When it comes to your P&L account here, hello, whenever I am verifying P&L account means I am verifying some or the other transaction. I am not verifying balances, correct? Now let us take a very simple example because you are attending classes so you can relate. Alright. Let us say admissions of the students. Now when we are verifying admissions, tell me, you want to see the fee receipt? Yes or no, sir? Hello? Yes. Why you want to see the fee receipt? With the fee receipt, what you will be able to verify? First of all, this document will help me to understand that this transaction is actually a genuine transaction. Occurrence. That this has actually occurred. When you see fee receipt versus the bank receipt, alright, you understand this transaction actually occurred. Right? When you see fee receipt versus bank receipt versus the books delivered, alright, you actually understand, yes, this transaction had occurred. So first of all, collection of documents for any transaction, the first thing is that we want to verify the occurrence. Now let us go inside the fee receipt. Now when you look at the fee receipt, obviously there will be some date of the receipt. Alright, so let us say if the date is 15th June 2024, alright, then in that case, okay, this is financial year 24-25. What are you trying to verify? Whether it has been recorded in the correct accounting period or not, that means you are trying to verify cut off. Very good, man. Whether transactions have been recorded in the correct accounting period or not, that means you are trying to verify the cutoff. Alright. Then, what is the amount, basic amount, GST? Alright, this is the total amount. Okay. What is a GST? What is the percentage charged? That means you're verifying the amount. When you're verifying the amount of any transaction, whether it is purchase, sales, salary, whatever it is, that means you are trying to verify accuracy. Be careful in your words. For inventory, when you were trying to verify the amount, we were checking cost NRV. That means we use the word valuation. We don't use the word valuation of transaction. This does not suit. Okay? This is like Pragnesh Kanabar and Anushka Sharma. There is nothing, no? There is no match. Alright. Okay. Virat Kohli, Anushka Sharma, yes. Made for each other. Okay. So everyone over here, when you talk about balances and the value, you use the word valuation. But when it comes to P&L, the amount of the transactions, you don't use the word valuation, you use the word accuracy. Be careful with that. Okay. And then CCD is always there. completeness, classification, disclosure. For example, when it comes to admissions, tell me, this will be recorded in my sales revenue account. All right, and it is revenue from operation or other income? Revenue from operation, and that is your classification. Okay. Completeness, nothing is getting missed out. All right, whether all the admissions have been recorded or not. All right. And then disclosure, presentation and disclosure. That's the format, the notes to accounts. So everyone over here, when it comes to transactions, always remember OCA, CCD. O for occurrence. Don't use the word existence of transactions. Transactions occur, balances exist. Transactions occur, balances exist. Cut off. Whether it is recorded in correct accounting period. For students attending live, recorded backup will be uploaded by the day end. End of the day. I don't know when that day will end. Cutoff is correct accounting period. Accuracy. Correct amount. CCD is the same. Completeness, classification, disclosure. All right. See, wherever you have space, left hand side, right hand side, or just below this, can you write some examples? At least just 2 or 3 examples. Audit procedure and assertion verified. I will dictate, I will not be able to write over there. Audit procedure, assertion verified. I need 2 columns, audit procedure and assertion verified. Okay. Write down first. Whether all related parties have been identified or not. Biggest problem in listed entities. Whether all related parties have been identified or not. Whether all related parties have been identified or not. Tell me, what is auditor trying to verify over here? Completeness. Disclosure. Write down the answer. Completeness. Completeness. Listen to me. As per Ind AS 24, you are supposed to list the name of related parties in the notes to accounts. When I am trying to verify whether all related parties have been disclosed or not, have been shown properly or not, and that is disclosure. But if I am trying to focus first whether they have been identified or not, I am worried about completeness. Obviously, at the end, I want to verify disclosure. But in this particular procedure, I am trying to verify completeness. Are you getting my point? So write down there, completeness. Keep it very simple. Don't look at the end objective of a procedure. Focus on that procedure itself. That why is that particular procedure being performed? At the end of the day, after I verify completeness, my next step will be to verify the disclosure itself. Right. But you went to the final destination. Okay. Second, whether depreciation is correctly charged. Zoom students are not responding. Alright, that is the biggest problem, you know. Pre-COVID, there was no recorded backup or something. So we used to just lock the doors, and then it was between only me and the students. So I used to ensure the students clear the exams. After COVID, we have no bargaining power. If I shout at you, you will leave, attend Zoom. If I shout at Zoom, you will leave from Zoom, you will attend recorded backup. Alright. So I have to just keep on buttering. Now second audit procedure, whether depreciation has been correctly charged or not. What am I trying to verify? Accuracy, yes or no, sir? No. I am trying to verify valuation. Please understand. Depreciation, why that item of depreciation got created? So that we can come down to carrying value. Alright. Don't act like Alexa Siri. Depreciation is a P&L item. In P&L item, if we are verifying amount, that means we are verifying accuracy. Don't act like this. The main purpose of depreciation is to come to carrying value. So when I am verifying depreciation, tell me I am verifying a P&L item or a balance sheet item? I am verifying a balance sheet item. Because depreciation is not verification of a P&L item. Depreciation is verification of a balance sheet item. By calculating depreciation, what are you going to get? Carrying value. Alright, so write down there, valuation. Achha, the difference between regular course and fast track courses, in regular course I give 6 examples. Over here I am giving 2-3 examples. Alright. In regular course there is a confidence building. Like the first example which I will give them is stock count as on year end. Then everyone will say existence, and they will feel confident that they are giving right answer. Then this related party will be my third or fourth example. In fast track course, I straight away focus on controversial questions. Alright. So easy questions I will say it very quickly orally, and controversial things I will make you write. Okay. So why I am giving this justification? In my fast track course, if I ask you 10 questions, it is possible that out of 10 you will go wrong in 9 questions. Because all 10 will be difficult. Alright. So don't judge yourself. Huh? For example, in these 2 questions you went wrong. Then don't judge you. My God, he asked us 2. I went wrong in 2. 100% failure ratio. Alright. Because in fast track questions we will straight away focus on controversial things. Alright. So it is like straight away I am preparing you for difficult stuff. And easy things I will say it orally. That is how we save time, not by cutting down on concepts. Last example, third example. Okay. Whether GST is correctly charged on all sales invoices. Whether GST is correctly charged on all sales invoices. Wait, let us go slow. GST is charged on all sales invoices, so it is a completely P&L item that we are talking about. Rights and obligation is balance sheet. What is the control over my asset? You know, Arshit, in you, I see my own mirror impression. You know, I was an overthinker when it came to the question. Alright. So I cleared my CA foundation, inter and everything first attempt. Final, I was an NM college student only, Nursing Munji college student. And I failed my final CA first attempt. I had to think a lot. Alright. I failed in aggregate. Then second attempt, I just missed my rank by 8 marks. What does that mean? All of a sudden I became intelligent? No. I ensure that I'm just staying in the question and not overthinking. Alright. So your first answer is correct. Normally what happens with you, your first answer is correct. Then you think a little bit more and then you are going wrong. You're getting my point? Stay in the present and only in the question. Go properly. We are talking about whether GST is correctly charged. That means we are worried about the GST percentage and GST amount on all sales invoices. So I am verifying a P&L item, transaction item, and I am focusing on amount. Then what am I trying to verify? Accuracy. That is how you will come to the right answer. Wait. There is one more thing. Underline all. All. All means I am worried about that nothing is getting missed out. So accuracy and completeness. Achha, slowly, steadily you will become expert of this. Huh? All of a sudden you will not become an expert. If I put a control F and if I use the word assertion word is used more than 100 times in audit subject. If you just scroll through the entire PDF, you will realize that. Accuracy and completeness. Yeah. For rights and obligation. Alright. Asset mortgaged. asset mortgaged for loans. Right? So that is, you are verifying rights and obligation. How the mortgage got created, what is the mortgage, what are the terms and conditions of the mortgage. That is rights and obligation. Alright. More examples? Yes. Madam, when I say focus on that point, whether GST is correctly charged on all sales invoices, the first thing that you will do is you will not think beyond the question. Now when I say GST is correctly charged, means I'm focusing on the amount of GST. So accuracy is there. Alright. Then on all sales invoices. If I want to see the occurrence, madam, I'll have to see sales order, sales invoice, bank receipt from the customer, or the debtor's ledger if it is a credit sale. I'll have to see 6-7 documents to understand that this transaction has occurred. Alright. So when I'm collecting documents, and that stage is occurrence. But when I'm verifying the amount, that is accuracy. And on all sales invoice means I'm worried about completeness. The first promise, because this is one of their favorite for MCQs, huh? Audit procedure and assertion being verified. The first promise that you will make yourself is you will not overthink. And you will only see the words that are there in the question. You will not think beyond that. Only then you will come to the correct assertion. Otherwise, you will always feel that in all the techniques, in all the procedures, we are trying to verify everything. Am I clear with this? Yes. So if, let us say, if I add one more thing to this, whether sales have been accounted under revenue from operations and not other income, that is your classification. Whether it has recorded, whether it got recorded in the correct account. Whether disclosures have been given by as per schedule 3, that is your presentation and disclosure. Are you getting my point? Yes. Zoom, I want a confirmation. Is everyone through with this? Assertion concept, you will become an expert only when you practice more. And you will practice more in different standards. Because in every single standard, now think about the subject. In every single standard, we will perform some procedures. And every single procedure is to verify some or the other assertions. That is why I have put this concept in essay basics, because it will keep on, you will see the impact of this concept across the entire subject. Alright. Done. Now don't write more examples. 3 examples more than enough to give you a reality check. When I complete my subject, you will become an expert. In fact, you can start teaching the subject to me also. Don't worry. Okay. So concept of assertions, we are through with that. Next concept. I think this is concept number 5. The concept of assertions is like learning how to ride a bicycle. It will take time. First you will learn to balance yourself, then you will learn to accelerate. Then you will learn to overtake other vehicles also. Concept of audit procedures. Okay, let us discuss practically. Tell me if you get, I hope I manifest this, that you get appointed as an auditor of DMart. And when you get that appointment, please ensure that I am getting free ration. Alright. So concept of audit procedures. Tell me, if you get appointed as an auditor of DMart, what is the first thing that you're going to do? Juice. Dry fruit. Planning. Alright. How are you going to plan? Wow, very good. So after 9 o'clock you start giving right answers. Alright, not a morning person. Okay. So everyone over here. I saw that after 9 o'clock he came to life. Yeah. Okay, he realized that there is a lecture going on. Very good. Understanding the entity. First thing is, straight away we will not start verifying the invoices. We'll try to understand the entity and its environment, try to obtain knowledge of client's business. Okay? So only if we have knowledge of client's business, then we will understand what can go wrong over here, what are the important areas to be verified. Then you will try to obtain an understanding of their accounting system, their internal processes, their relevant controls. Alright. Why are you trying to obtain all of this understanding? Why are you trying to analyze so much? So that, come on, favorite word of interest here, the word which got repeated n number of times while writing answers. ROMM, wrong. Risk of material misstatement. See, please understand, as an auditor, we cannot verify everything on a 100% basis. So we want to ensure that we stay focused. that okay, these are the risks. This is where error can occur. This is where fraud can take place. Here there is a high chance of error. Here there is a high chance of fraud. Right? And only in those areas we want to focus our energies. Yes or no, sir? Yes. So the entire procedure that we just discussed in the last couple of minutes, it is called as which procedure? Risk assessment procedure. As an auditor, I will never ever start with straight away test of controls, test of details. No. First, I will perform risk assessment procedure and then I will move ahead. Everyone start writing. I still want to discuss, but we will, write and understand this concept simultaneously. Concept of audit procedures. Listen, over here, you have to leave one finger space, some margin, so that I can give some marking. Concept of audit procedures. Write down over here. Auditor shall obtain an understanding of the entity and its environment. That means knowledge of client's business. After that, this is the first step. After that, please understand this like a recipe. Step number 1, step number 2 as well. After that, auditor shall evaluate the accounting systems. Now tell me, if you're conducting audit of Air India, are you worried about how do they take off the flight and how do they land it? No. What then? In your answers, you end up committing a very big mistake. When you keep on writing, you may not realize it, but there's a mistake that you commit. You write that auditor shall obtain an understanding of the accounting system and internal controls of the entity. Wrong. We are not worried about the entire, we are not worried about overall internal controls. We are worried only about relevant internal controls. I'm not worried about how does that Air India flight take off or how it lands. But if there is a sale of food and beverages on board, then I'm worried how do they account it. Alright. I'm worried about salary to staff. I'm worried about fueling expenses. I'm worried about the ticketing expense, the ticketing income. I'm worried about commission paid to agent. I'm worried about that entire system. I'm not worried about their security checks. So when you just use the word internal control, it means you are indicating to the examiner that you are worried about overall internal control. Stop using that word. Say relevant internal controls. Which controls? Relevant internal controls. Or even better, say internal controls related to the preparation of financial statements. Alright. Or use this auditor shall evaluate the accounting system and related or relevant internal controls, because when you write only internal controls, that means you are worried about everything. In practical subjects, figures matter, than in theory subjects, the words will matter. Auditor shall evaluate the accounting system. पीछे है वॉशरूम, तो ये दरवाजे से पीछे जाके. Auditor shall evaluate the accounting system and related or relevant internal controls implemented by the entity. Okay. Down arrow. Acha, why I am trying to obtain all of this understanding? So that finally, in order to identify and assess risk of material misstatement, at least for once we will write the full form. In order to identify and assess risk of material misstatement, whether due to fraud or error. identify and assess risk of material misstatement, whether due to fraud or error in the financial statements. See, whenever you write ROMM, no, comma, you should always add this suffix. You should always write this whether due to fraud or error. Never miss out on this line. In order to identify and assess ROMM, whether due to fraud or error in the financial statements. Alright. But I want to make it a little bit more practical. Tell me, madam, let us say that DMart, let us say it is going to come out with IPO to ho gaya iska. Let us say it is going to come out with FPO. Alright. Of let us say 4,000 crores. So when you get appointed as an auditor, you realize that within a couple of years, they plan to come out with FPO. Okay. What does that mean to you as an auditor? When you come to know that company is going to raise finance within next couple of years, what does that indicate? Do you see any risk in that? Madam, when company is going to raise finance, that means company will start inflating its financial statements. They will try to show better profits, better position of asset liability management. That means, don't you think that there is a risk over here that the entire financial statements can be materially misstated? Because when the company tells you that, boss, we are going to raise finance, that means they will start manipulating their financials. Are you getting my point? Yes. Hello. You came to know about the risk of material misstatement by understanding the entity and its environment. Think practically. You started asking the management, is there a plan to raise finance and stuff? And they say, yes, we are going to expand in now 7 countries, not only in India, but on 7 countries. And we are going to raise 4,000 crores with an FPO. That means that the company will start manipulating the financial statements. So everyone over here, hello. That means there is a risk of material misstatement. पूरा बैच को डिस्टर्ब नहीं करना, बाहर किधर बैठ जाने का. You can keep his books outside. Right? Risk of material misstatement at overall financial statement level. Because I was teaching a very sensitive concept, and you guys are interested in some petty things. Risk of material misstatement at overall financial statement level. You know, there are some risks. There are some instances where you feel that the entire financial statement can be manipulated over here, and one of the instances when company is trying to raise finance. Second instance, let us say that you are auditing a startup entity. In startup entity, there is always a risk that management could be incompetent. And when it comes to accounts, engineers are very much competent in their own products, but there could be a high incompetency when it comes to accounts. They may not have the budget to appoint a CFO or something. Alright. Now when you realize that that bloody engineer, alright, he says that he has done some accounting course on upgrade software of 2 months, accounting course, and he will only prepare the financial statements. That engineer is going to prepare the financial statements. That means, can I say that there is a risk of material misstatement not in just 1 or 2 items? There is a risk of material misstatement at overall financial statement level. So only knowing the word ROMM is not enough. You need to understand that auditor should analyze whether there is a ROMM at overall financial statement level. Achha, when I say DMart, what do you think? What can go wrong over there? Can I say there could be a cash misappropriation possibility? Yes. There are so many stores, thousands of stores. Can I say there is a possibility that there could be some inventory misappropriation? Yes. Hello. That is called as risk of material misstatement at assertion level. So one is micro analysis and the other one is macro analysis. This is practical. Now I can say it with confidence that we are done with risk assessment procedure. This is just half part of audit procedures. Risk assessment procedure. Risk assessment procedure as per SA 315. risk assessment procedure as per SA 315. Alright, no, but I want you to say this at once from start to end. So, what is risk assessment procedure? First, auditor will obtain an understanding. Understanding of what? Of the entity and its environment. That means the knowledge of client's business. Then, auditor shall evaluate the accounting system and related or relevant internal controls implemented by the entity. Why auditor is doing all of this? So that he can identify and assess what? Your blood pressure? No. He can identify and assess ROMM, risk of material misstatement, whether due to fraud or error in the financial statements. ROMM can be at two levels. ROMM at overall financial statement level. Madam, this micro, micro and macro is just for your understanding. Don't use that English. ROMM can be at two levels. ROMM at overall FS level and ROMM at assertion level. When I say ROMM at overall FS level, means there is a risk that entire FS could be misstated. And when I say assertion level, means specific items could be misstated. Because this is one of their MCQ. Company is going to raise finance. What does this indicate? ROMM at overall FS level, ROMM at assertion level, both of these, none of these. So you have to tell them that if company is raising finance, that means there is a risk of material misstatement at overall FS level. All right. Done. So everyone over here, after performing risk assessment procedure, one more time, after performing risk assessment procedure, auditor gets a fair bit of idea that okay, there is a risk of material misstatement of error over here, fraud over here. All right, so here we are supposed to focus. Okay, these are the items where we are not supposed to focus. All right, like in a service sector. All right, what you are going to visit on 31st March on my classes and you will verify the stock of books or what? You will find 50, 60, 70 books in the stock because we will print books only after the admissions are done. So in service sector, you will not find a high amount of inventory. Then are you going to conduct a physical verification of inventory? No. So obviously auditor will respond only as per the risk. I repeat, auditor will respond only as per the risk. So after performing risk assessment procedure, auditor will perform his responses. Auditor's responses to the assessed risk. If you want easy English, then further audit procedure below poverty line. First, auditor will perform risk assessment procedure, then auditor will perform further audit procedure. You can use further audit procedures, but the technical word of further audit procedures is auditor's responses to the assessed risk. I repeat, auditor's responses to the assessed risk. Alright, write down now over here. So please draw one line. It should look as if, okay, this is the first half and the other one is the second half. Based upon assessed ROMM. Auditor shall determine NTE. Come on, interest here, tell me. Nature, timing and extent. Few words you remember either because you liked it or because you were frightened about them or because you saw them in your nightmare. Based upon assessed ROMM. Auditor shall determine the nature, timing and extent. Nature, timing and extent. Nature means what you're going to do. Timing means when. Extent means how much. What, when, how much. What, when, how much. Nature, timing and extent of further audit procedures. Based upon assessed ROMM, auditor shall determine nature, timing and extent of further audit procedures. I think now you will recollect. Further audit procedures are divided into two. Test of controls, test of details, but I will write it in this manner. Substantive procedures. Substantive procedures are divided into two. Test of details and substantive analytical procedures. Test of controls, test of details and substantive analytical procedures. All right. But I want you to think about it practically. So let us say when a student takes admission from my website, through which we sell recorded lectures and stuff. All right. Then in that case, what happens is we get an email. I don't know, अभी कोई email, हाँ देखो 6:41 AM, what kind of, all right, now we get an email. किधर से है ये? Mumbai, Maharashtra, हाँ. This keeps on happening, this recorded lectures. Okay, now this email, what happens is after I get this email, my team in this inbox, we have created one label, website orders received. Alright, they will shift it over here because this is website orders received. Now if they have processed the order, then they will shift it to this label, website orders completed. Alright, they will shift it to this label. Now as you can see, there are no orders pending. Alright, so that is why website orders completed, it is over here. Okay, now based upon this website orders completed, right? So my dad who looks after my accounting and stuff, right? So he will ensure that he reconciles this with the website admin access that we have. He will tally it from there. All right, and he will also check the bank receipts. Then he will pass the accounting entries. All right, based upon those bank statements and stuff. Tell me, when I am explaining this to you, obviously let us say you are my auditor and you are asking me the questions. All right, and when I am explaining this to you, what does that mean? You are performing which procedures? You are performing risk assessment procedure. No, you need to think practically. When you are asking questions and when management is providing explanations about a process, how it runs and stuff, that is not test of control. That is performing risk assessment procedure. So when you are just trying to understand, one more time, when you are just trying to understand, it is always going to be a part of risk assessment procedure. Now why I am emphasizing on this and why I am being so dramatic over here? Because in exams, many a times they ask you to perform risk assessment procedure, and the moment you write check whether, you will get 0. Because in risk assessment procedures, we don't check, we just understand. I repeat, in risk assessment procedures, we don't check, we just understand. Look at my statements. Have I used the word inspect, check, verify? No. I've used the word obtain and understanding. I've used the word please evaluate. Look at the words. The moment you use the word check, inspect, examine, when you're writing risk assessment procedures, I will give you 0. And why it is important for you to understand? SA 540 auditing accounting estimates, 550 related parties, 560 subsequent events, 570 going concern. In all of these essays, you will find 2 paragraphs. One on risk assessment procedure, one on further audit procedures. You will feel that in risk assessment procedures, we are just trying to obtain an understanding. For example, if I tell you that risk assessment procedures with respect to going concern, what should be your answer? When it comes to going concern, the only risk assessment procedure that you can perform is try to understand whether there is any threat to the going concern of the entity. For example, while writing this answer, you wrote that auditor should obtain an understanding whether entity has, plans to continue for the next 12 months. What are their business plans? Wrong. Because when you try to audit their business plans for the next 12 months, that is not risk assessment, that is further audit procedure. But when you're trying to find out the risk, whether there is any threat to their going concern, that is risk assessment procedure. So in SA 570, you will see 2 paragraphs. In one paragraph, we will try to find out whether there is any threat to their going concern. That will be risk assessment procedure. After finding out threat to their going concern, then we will try to understand how they will manage the threat, what are their plans for the next 12 months, whether they will be able to continue or not. That will be further audit procedure. I want a confirmation. Is everyone with me? Hello? Don't just look at this page like a theory. Whenever you are trying to find out some risk, whenever you are trying to find out what can go wrong, whenever you are trying to find out where error and fraud can take place, that is risk assessment procedure. And after finding out, okay, here there is a chance of error, here there is a chance of fraud, then when you think now what to do ahead, that is further audit procedure. So you should feel what you are writing. First, auditor will perform risk assessment procedure, then auditor will respond to the assessed risk. All right. So I was coming to my admission process. Now, as a CFO, CEO, whatever I am of the entity, I have explained the process to you. Now you will start taking invoices on sampling basis. So let us say you took 100 invoices. Now you are checking that, okay, after the admission is received, how the order is processed, how the delivery is done, what are the invoices raised, or payments and receipts during this entire process. All right. Now you have started checking. Acha, if someone is asking for discount, who is authorizing that? Whether Pragnesh is authorizing, his father is authorizing, who is exactly authorizing the discount? If it is an exceptional discount, all right. Then subsidies given, scholarships given, who is authorizing that? Now when you are checking the process, whether it is actually functioning as per what was explained to you, then that is called as test of controls. So tell me, what should be my English? In test of controls, we need to verify dash of internal controls. We need to verify operating effectiveness. Whenever you talk about internal controls, always use the word operating effectiveness. You may have used this word at inter-CA level. Currently, it is about understanding practically. Today, the biggest learning that you have taken from the lecture is that it is not a theory subject. Verifying operating effectiveness of relevant internal controls. And tell me, if my employees are not functioning as per the system, that means you have found out dash. Deficiency, very good, very near. Deviation. Whenever controls are not functioning, don't say controls are not working properly. Below poverty line. Tell them control, we have identified deviations, or even deficiency is a good word. All right. So everyone over here. We need to detect deviations, if any. We need to detect deviations, if any. All right. When I say test of details, when you're verifying the amount, the invoice date, all the assertions and stuff. All right. That means you are trying to verify ACPD, amount, classification, presentation, disclosure. Always use these 4 words in test of details. I think I don't have space over here. Yeah. Top of the page I will write amount, classification, presentation, and disclosure. So tell me, when you are verifying the fee receipt, okay, and if let us say if there is any discount, Then you are verifying that authorized signatory, who has authorized the discount. In my admissions, if there is an exceptional discount, only myself and my father can authorize. So either it should be my signature or my father's signature, right? Then when you are verifying that signature, tell me, it is test of control or test of details? It is TOC or TOD? When you are verifying that signature, whether this signature is Pragnesh's signature or Pragnesh's father's signature, it is TOC or TOD? TOC. Very good. Test of controls. Because some students, the moment you tell them that you are verifying a document, they will straight away mark test of details. Bloody every document is not test of details. Because in a document, when you are verifying authorized signatory, it is TOC. But if you are verifying the amount, the date, the accounting period, the presentation, disclosure, then it is TOD. So tell me, just verification of documents, will it always be TOD? No. Because by verifying documents, it is possible that you are also conducting TOC and not TOD. Alright. So please focus on the question and then answer. So when it comes to test of details, you are verifying ACPD. And if ACPD is wrong, we say that there is a misstatement. We don't use the word deviation. Deviation word is used for internal controls. Detect misstatement if any. Statement given by miss is a mistake. Sorry. So verify ACPD. Detect misstatement if any. Hello. Come on. Now this is the last question after we are ending the lecture. Tell me, if I am conducting a trend analysis, of last 5 years, okay, and I saw that profits are declining, managerial remuneration is increasing. Since last 5 years, company is borrowing at 8% and lending at 7%. And the company's credit rating has improved from B+ to A+. Whereas company's debt equity ratio has gone from 4:1 to 19:1. This is the trend analysis of last 5 years. What is this? Profits are declining. Acha, company is about to get into losses now. From high profits, they are going to losses. And managerial remuneration is increasing. Borrowing at 8% since last 5 years and lending at 7%. And magically credit rating has improved. Even though debt equity ratio has gone from 4:1 to 19:1. Tell me, this is which procedure? Forget about what is the outcome of this, but this is which procedure? Analytical procedures, yes or no, sir? Hello, this is which procedure? Analytical procedures. This is which procedure? Analytical procedures. Alright. Don't just say analytical procedures. Say that it is substantive analytical procedures. Wrong. This is analytical procedure, not substantive analytical procedure. Now listen to me. Analytical procedure and substantive analytical procedures, these are two different concepts. Tell me, when do you use the word substantive? When you are testing something. In this entire analytical procedure, I was not testing anything. I was just trying to understand the entity's financial performance. And by this analytical procedure, which item you have tested? What you have tested from this? Nothing. But can I say you came to know that there is a risk of fraud in this entity? Yes or no, sir? Hello. Alright, just because it is the last 5 minutes, don't think about just exiting the lecture. Focus. When I have performed the trend analysis of last 5 years, I was not testing any item. I was just trying to find out the risk over here. And by looking at this trend, I came to know that there is a risk of fraud. So this is called as analytical procedures used for risk assessment. This is not substantive. Alright. Every analytical procedure is not substantive. Alright. Let us say when I start auditing financial year 24-25, let us say this was the trend of the last 5 years. When I start auditing financial year 24-25, let us say I am checking GST versus turnover. What was the GST of the last month? What is the turnover? All right, what is the turnover in GST? I am checking the salary versus total number of employees. This is substantive analytical procedures because you are actually testing the item by performing ratio analysis. Are you getting my point? One more time. Every analytical procedure is not substantive analytical procedures. And hello, you know what? This whatever you saw over here is practical example of ILNFS. Before COVID, 2019-20, ILNFS fraud came to picture. This is actual example of ILNFS. You can check on Google. Big Fours were the auditors, and I don't want to say which Big Four. And Grant Thornton had conducted forensic, was appointed by the court to conduct forensic. So Grant Thornton report, if you will read, you will realize that this was the actual mistake committed by the auditors. But forget about it. Let us say trend, when I was performing trend analysis of last 5 years, I was just trying to find out risk of fraud. So this was analytical procedure and not substantive analytical procedure. That is the main message that I want to give. Bloody every ratio trend analysis is not substantive analytical procedure. Substantive analytical procedure means you are using ratios, trends, comparisons during testing stage, during testing and completion stage. Sorry, I don't have space. I will dictate, please. Cancel Pragnesh Kanabar. So you can focus on the content. Okay. Ratios, trends, comparisons during testing and completion stages. Ratios, trends, comparisons during testing and completion stages. Just somewhere on top of the page, here and there, somewhere, just write down just one line. Using analytical procedures during planning stage. Using analytical procedures during planning stage. Using analytical procedures during planning stage. Is not a substantive procedure. Using analytical procedure during planning stage is not a substantive procedure. Substantive means you are testing something. Using analytical procedure during planning stage is not a substantive procedure. All right. So give me 1 minute rapid fire round. You will tell me which procedure is this. I have asked a question to the purchase manager to explain me the purchase process. Which procedure? Risk assessment procedure. All right. Say it with style. Risk assessment procedure as per SA 315. Yes, along with cheese burst. Okay. I am checking the purchase invoice in order to understand whether the rate is the same as agreed with the vendor. Auditor's response is to the assessor is because I am checking the rate whether it is as per the vendor agreement or not. But it is test of control or test of detail? Test of detail. Alright. And now let me mix it up with the previous concepts. When I am checking the rate, whether the rate charged by the vendor is the same as per the agreement or not. Which assertion I am verifying? Go slow. Which assertion I am verifying? Wait. Vendor, rate, transaction, PNL item, rate, amount, accuracy. Are you getting my point? That is the MCQ level of MCQ that I can ask. I can ask you which procedure is this, and along with that I can mix it up with which assertion is getting verified. So you should be ready to mix up the dance. Okay. I am verifying. Okay. I am just trying to understand that, okay, this is the sales, this is the cost of goods sold, then balancing figure should be the gross profit, and I am tallying it with the accounts whether it is the actual gross profit or not. Sales minus cost of goods sold, it should give you the figure of your gross profit, and I'm just tallying with my account software whether that is the same gross profit or not. So when I'm checking the relationship between sales, cost of goods sold and gross profit, this is which procedure? tell me, first of all, when I'm checking sales minus COGS, gross profit, this is your risk assessment procedure or further audit procedure? Further audit procedure. It is TOC or TOD? It is a TOD, substantive procedures. But tell me, when you are just checking the relationship, total जब ऐसा check करते हो ना, total ratios and stuff, that is technically a substantive analytical procedure. All right? Okay. Now this was just a rapid fire round. You will not become an expert of this in the first lecture itself. But today is a reality check that you need to be practical. So that whenever I teach standards, you think practically that, okay, this is what we are supposed to do. All right. So my only request is, don't do anything today. Just ensure that you are revising these 4 or 5 concepts and then you are attending the next lecture. All right. Thank you so much. We'll continue in the next session.